Hi, welcome to the Stitch TV show. I'm Lynn today.
And I'm Pam, also today. And we're happy you're joining us today. The Stitch is an online quilt talk show, the perfect soundtrack for your sewing room. Join us for twice monthly talk shows, virtual stitch-ins, book clubs, and podcasts. Learn more at thestitchtvshow.com.
Our show today is brought to you by our friends at QT Fabrics and EnMart. You can learn more about each of them in their links in the episode show notes.
I know. So last episode, because we filmed 2 at a time, we had something in here and I couldn't do this. But I could today.
So, I don't even remember what was in here.
I had my seam rippers
from
from episode 413.
So you hide them.
I did hide them in here.
I'm sitting right here and totally missed
It's like a little bag of tricks.
Da-da-da.
Yeah.
So, but I have, and I admitted this last episode, I have gone through here and snuck out some of the thread and used it. No, because I am thread painting this week. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back. I'm thread painting. Don't pout. Put it back. Nah. So I'm gonna definitely use this stuff to thread paint with. So I'm really excited about that.
Except that one that I just had. I'm kidding. You can have it.
How do you know where it is? Like every time. So
production is motioning me for chuck it at them, and I feel like I don't have good aim.
Well, I feel like
this could go
there's
horribly
a lot
wrong.
of things up here that people can't see that you could hit. So anyway, so yay, Iris thread from EnMart is just lovely.
It is,
and I've used it and very much enjoyed it.
As have I.
And we're excited about QT Fabrics. They're going to send us some stuff.
I know, but we have to tell them what kind of stuff. Like all unicorns
all
as a category.
But they have other very nice lines out,
too.
So, all right. So, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to be talking about, see, now it tells me, working with wool and quilts and seasonal quilts. And we're joined by the wall hanging size of our newest pattern,
Sew in Love.
Sew in Love, that I designed and you wrote.
Actually, this is the first pattern we have where we are both cited as co-designers.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Because you designed the wall hanging.
I did design the wall hanging.
And then I designed a lap size for it.
And the lap size is better, actually.
I accept.
I designed the applique, though. Applique is cute.
Yes. You could get the digital pattern and the laser cut applique kit for this quilt and the version that you'll see on an upcoming episode, the lap size, all in one pattern at shop.thestitchtvshow.com.
Without the banter, though. Without the, sarcasm and...
And it's implied in the pattern throughout.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, good. So, what's up?
So coming up, this episode drops in early March 2019.
Yay.
Not shortly thereafter, within a few weeks, the U.S. has designated a holiday of National Quilting Day on March 16th, which is always the third Saturday in March.
Which
Hooray.
should be a national holiday, I think.
Well, I don't think we get it off because it's already Saturday. It's tricky how they did that. It's just the man keeping us ladies and other quilters down. I don't know. We made a vow not to talk about politics. That just probably shouldn't have been said on air.
Yeah, it should have not. So, National Quilting Day.
Hooray.
So, I think we should quilt on that day. I think that's required for that day.
Sure.
Okay. So, we're going to come up with something, and we'll let them know, like on social media and stuff.
Yeah, on the social medias.
Social media. I don't know what we're going to do yet, though.
We don't know what we're going to do.
We were talking about it.
On brand.
We were.
We don't know what we're going to do yet.
Yes. Unnecessary and silly. So we were chatting about it with the messages. So through the text.
Facebook Messenger. That way we can use the dragon filter where we can turn ourselves into dragons.
But we're going to do something.
March 16th.
The Stitch TV's show is going to do something on March 16th, and we're going to invite you to do it with us. And we don't know what that is yet.
I'm sure this will go well.
We have great hopes.
So, on to our first topic, working with wool.
Yes. Have you made a wool quilt?
Not a quilt, no.
I haven't either. I haven't made a whole quilt that is made out of wool. I am just not with it today. I don't know what my issue is. But I have made some small wool kits that I find very enjoyable for like doing smaller projects that are carry around, because it's all the stuff that I've done with wool has been hand sewing.
Yes, and mine as well.
So, so I had 2 kits that I've done, and these were patterns from either Bare Essentials or Primitive Gathering.
Bare Roots?
Bare Roots.
Yeah.
Or Primitive Gatherings.
And so Lisa Bongine owns Primitive Gatherings,
Yeah.
and they've had a booth at like almost every quilt show that I've gone to, the bigger ones. And so I finally hit a point last year in the fall where I was like, I finished all my wool kits. Like, I need to buy more.
Go buy another.
I did buy some more. In fact, I just cut out the pieces and got everything like fused and ready because I've got some travel for my day job coming up. And so I'm ready to work on them on an airplane now.
Right. And they're great for travel.
Yes.
So they're great hand sewing projects. And I think they come in cute little kits. A lot of them are like candle mats or
Penny rugs.
Kind of more traditional, lends itself to the more traditional look or primitive folk art kind of stuff. But here are 2 that I've done. This is a sewing one where it's got the tomato, the tomato that you would put pins in with all the little cute sewing stuff. And then this one, of course, I love puppies and dogs. So this one had all the dogs around. And what I liked about this is working with wool doesn't fray when you cut out the shape that you're getting ready to sew down. With traditional applique, you have to needle turn the fabric under, and wool you don't. And that's what makes it one of the benefits, I think, is they go together faster. You can get around the edges quicker and get your project done.
As long as the wool is felted properly. Now, I have had some pieces provided in a kit where I've cut it out and then immediately it just went and kind of like unwove itself, which is not great.
And the nice thing about buying kits with wool is wool's expensive. That's one of the
inhibitors.
Right. And that's probably why I've never done a full quilt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can spend hundreds of dollars on a block.
Yeah. Even if you used wool for the applique and what's behind us, like to get, because you would need a big enough piece to do the 3 letters if you wanted to keep them all the same fabric, like in that.
That would be an expensive. I think it's gosh, I don't remember the last time I bought wool, but I mean it's,
I would say
$24, $30 a yard.
Yeah.
For wool.
And
so not inexpensive.
And depending on how it's prepped, there have been in recent years a lot more pieces of wool sold that are in brighter colors. But to your point earlier, a lot of them are in primitive colorways. So yeah.
Right. So I'm very attracted to the brighter color ones. So this is a piece of some wool that I bought that had some of the brighter greens, and I like the overdyed wool too, where they have a herringbone or a houndstooth that they over dye. That gives you a different texture with it than just there's a houndstooth that's over dyed that I think's nice. But just a little, like that little thing, I don't know, it was probably $30 or $40 just because wool's very expensive. But what makes wool nice too is you can buy it in smaller pieces than you could buy fabric.
Yeah.
You can't buy fabric in a 6-inch square.
Unless you're like at the scrap bin at the local quilt shop where they just take off cuts and throw it.
But they will cut for you. A lot of quilt stores that carry wool will cut for you the smaller bits of fabric.
So I have done a couple projects, and this was one of my favorite ones, if you want to stick it over there. Okay. So this is a full-on table runner. You can't see the whole thing. But it came as a kit, and my dad grew up on a farm in Ohio, and so we would go back there and visit my grandparents in summers. And I got this one because the barn and the house just reminded me of that time in my childhood. And then if you notice there, I took the liberty of embroidering a little stick man in front of the cow running away in terror because that is also a very vivid childhood memory where...
Were you the stick figure?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not shown here. Me and my sister sitting, their house was kind of set up on a hill off the road. And it was this great sloped front yard, which would be awesome for tobogganing if we ever went there in winter. But we were smart enough not to go in winter when they would have 18 inches of snow.
Oh.
But we were sitting on this big hill in the summer playing or doing, whatever kids do. I think I was 6 at the time. And then I just have a very vivid image of my mother running towards us. Like the cow got out. And the cow was behind her, like chasing my mother. Everyone was fine. The cow was fine. But it's this memory, like I think about the farm and the pine trees behind it. And then I think of like my mother running from a cow. So this was
that's perfect.
Just a little callback, a little subtle.
I remember my sister and I, we were at Land Between the Lakes, which is a national park in Kentucky that my dad used to manage. And they had a fenced-in, area for the cows and the horses. And the cows were in this one fenced-in area. And my sister and I wanted to go pet them, so we climbed through the fence to go pet the cows. And we didn't realize there was a bull in there.
No.
And just so you know, you don't want to do that at all.
That is the kind of quality instruction you get here at the Stitch.
Right. So when you're describing this, your mother, I remember my sister running from the bull.
I feel like that's a classic American Midwestern experience.
Yes,
at some point, somebody's
going to be running
has been
away
running from a cow.
Yes. I think that's true. So, yeah, the bull was not a happy camper. And Angie still talks about that today. Like, oh, it's not good.
Good times.
Good times.
All right, but let me ask you, when you are prepping kits, are you fusing the wool down? Are you pinning it? How are you prepping it for stitching and assembly?
I have done it both ways. I took a class from Lisa Bogine, and we used Steam-A-Seam 2 Light, and we used that to kind of have that tackiness that would hold it down, which I like. That's a good technique, and it works fine. What I didn't like about it was there's the glue that you're pulling the needle through with that Steam-A-Seam 2, which is a little bit stickier than I think I want on my needle.
Yeah. Now you can keep
so I didn't enjoy yes.
Clean your needle off.
Or you can do it in a way where it's not the entire piece. It's just like
center.
In the center, which will work. And then I've done it, but if it's a super small piece,
you just kind of hold it.
I can hold it. Yeah. So I've done it both ways. But yeah, I don't think I tend to use the sticky unless it's like a really large or
I have done it on mine for ones that I know I'm going to be working on the road, because what I don't want to have happen is a piece falls off in the airplane.
Right.
And there is no room to bend down and pick it up.
Yes, because you're sitting like this stitching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely. Now, I would be careful, though. If you are buying kits, one of the things that you see people do, if you really want to work with wool, read your kit closely, because some of the kits will talk about felt. And it's not felted wool, it's just felt.
Which is acrylic.
And even though you really couldn't see it, the dogs that I did, those are felt. Those are not wool. Now, felt has the same properties as wool, as in that it doesn't fray on the edges when you cut them.
And they're typically a little cheaper.
A lot cheaper. So you can go to any craft big box store, hobby store, and go to the kids section. I mean, even the big blue one that has other stuff in it. Walmart.
Yeah. I knew what you were talking about. You didn't have to say it.
They have felt in there, and you can go buy, pieces of felt for 25 cents, and it's a big, a large
A sheet, like a size of a
sheet,
standard
like
piece of
a
paper.
standard piece of paper, right? And you can get them in all kinds of colors, right? And if you like that look or doing that project, you can do it much less expensive by doing the pattern in felt instead of wool. My only cautionary tale is I bought this puppy dog thing thinking it was wool. When I got it, it was through the mail. I didn't read carefully. We're not surprised about that. And it was felt, and I was disappointed because I was wanting a wool. Now, I should have been cued in that it was not as expensive as a wool kit would have been, but
Yeah. Now, I will say, like, if you want to mix it up and keep it more cost effective, for the background piece, you could go with acrylic felt and then add some wool pieces for the very
Right.
small applique. And that'll give you the beauty of wool, keep it a little more cost effective, because the
Right.
bigger sheets of wool are what's really expensive, what we talked about.
Right. And like this is, but I think if you look at wool, like when I put the sewing up there and the puppy dogs right next to each other, the camera's not going to be able to tell you the difference between the wool and the felt. You can feel it. Like I could hand them to you and you could go, oh, this felt, this wool. You can feel the difference. The wool's a little bit heavier than the felt is.
It's a little thicker usually,
It's
too.
thicker. And it's got a, acrylic feels a little bit rougher than wool does, I think. So, but just be aware that if it says felted wool, it's probably really wool. But if it says felt, it's not. It's acrylic. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
And if you find a pattern you like and you want to remake it for somebody else and you don't want to, spend the cost of getting the wool, make it in felt. They're not going to know. Most people won't know, I would say, kind of thing. And the other thing I like about working with wool, and I think you see this in yours and you see it in the puppy dogs in here, is you get a little bit of practice in doing some simple embroidery stitches.
Like a blanket stitch is pretty classic when working with wool.
Yeah, which is
French
what you do on
knots.
the edge, the French knots on the puppy dog's ear.
Daisy stitch.
The little loops on the daisy stitch. And the eyes were the French knots. So you get kind of that, I think the tongue is a satin stitch. You get that kind of basic introduction to some embroidery stitches that you're going to use a thicker thread on. And I just think that's a great learning. And most of them turn out super cute.
Yeah.
Love them.
And I find too, like, especially if you get one of the kits that is the felt and you want to make a handmade gift for someone, but you don't want to put in like, oh, sure, they wanted a king size quilt. How about a little tiny mat? You still made it by hand. And I have done those seasonally, kind of like we talked about on our episode with the quilted pillows, where you give them, like, here's the pillow form and the pillow, and then you just swap out the covers. I have done like seasonal wool mats or felt mats as gifts, and it's like, here's a Valentine's one, here's an Easter one, like here's a 4th of July, so they've kind of got like one for every month. For like, we keep our change jar is like this weird kind of jug that
I know we have
you would use for, like, I don't know,
ours was a old flower vase.
Mine's similar, but I think it looks like a weird take on a cream jug. But it's clear. And that's where we throw all the change, and then we, the kids get to sort it and all that. And so I have a mat about the size of the one with the dogs, and that jug sits in the middle. And so, like, I can put the Valentine's one out, and then I can swap it out seasonally.
I have one that's actually a birthday one that's got little candles all the way around. That's kind of cute to, hey, it's your birthday. Yay, kind of thing. So I'm always excited about my birthday. I like birthdays.
Okay.
So I have seen some beautiful wool quilts with all kinds of embroidery, but that's definitely, you're in love with wool at that point. If you're just getting to wool, buy the, like Bare Roots has kits, Primitive Gathering has kits, And those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head that I've used.
Yeah.
But they're really easy to find, and they're not terribly expensive. I think some of the kits will run you about $15 to $60, depending on how big it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it comes with everything except for the thread, and maybe you need, and you do need a different needle.
Yeah, you want a needle with a bigger eye. I tend to use a chenille needle.
Yes, I do too.
But embroidery needles will also work because, again, you're using that thicker thread. You just need something with a bigger eye for it.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, the kit will tell you what stitches to use where.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. And I'm sure you can Google. I know you can because I've seen the lady do different embroidery stitches on. And you can get really fancy with bullion knots and
Like if you, I would recommend you look up Sue Spargo, who is kind of like the pinnacle of amazing, bright, modern wool work.
Yes.
Gorgeous colors. And I know she sells patterns and kits and all of that.
She does a block of the month that you can join for a whole quilt. But I think the block for every month is like over $100.
Yeah.
But it comes with everything.
Materials.
Now, she just doesn't use wool. She'll use hand-dyed felt, hand-dyed other types of fabrics that aren't just wool, silks. And hers are just really unique. It's definitely beautiful. But I do have a friend who joined her club, and that was like her Christmas present.
And she won a ribbon in our show.
Yes, she's won lots of ribbons in our show. She's very talented. So anyway.
Awesome. All right.
So now we're going to take a closer look at Sew and Love, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Our next topic is seasonal quilts.
Sure they are. I like mine with a nice bay leaf and a zhuzh paprika. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, all the oregano and basil quilts that we can make.
I swear, officer, it's just oregano. Good times.
Rosemary. Let's just name all the...
Catnip.
Parsley.
Sage.
Cilantro.
Rosemary.
I already said that.
I know, but I was doing the song lyrics.
Oh, what song lyrics?
Sage, rosemary, and thyme. Are you going to whatever fair? Yacht Rock. It's fine. Let's carry on.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You are not in touch with 70s classics. That might even be from the 60s.
I don't know. I'm looking at my music
Italian
expertise
parsley.
over here, and he's like,
oh my gosh.
Scarborough
To
Fair.
the Googles production.
Oh, I know that song.
See?
All right. So, no, the reason I wanted to talk about seasonal quilts is, one, I wanted to know, do you make seasonal quilts?
Begrudgingly.
And that I'm talking. Begrudgingly? You mean, okay, so my definition for seasonal quilts is like, you know, a spring quilt or a summer quilt or a specific holiday quilt. No, you don't make them?
Yes. However,
yes.
Begrudgingly. So
what's the begrudgingly, I guess?
So as many new quilters do, I'm sure, you're like, oh, what an amazing Christmas quilt, and you make it for your bed. Cool. And then the next year you see a fabulous new design and you make that for your bed, and all of a sudden you, like me, now have 3 Christmas quilts for your bed.
I have 2.
And now I'm like, I gotta back away. And I also, in my living room, I have one wall where I can hang, decent sized quilts up to about 72 inches square.
Yeah.
I think I've gone up to like 80. And the problem with that is that then I have to change them out. And I have to like move the recliner and shove this out of the way and get out the step stool and change them out. And so
But you have a beautiful, like, beachy quilt that you did.
Yeah, that I should hang up more. Who remembers to hang that up? Not this gal.
And then you have like,
yes,
I'm not into Halloween, but you have a really pretty Halloween
Baltimore
quilt.
album. Yeah,
that's Baltimore album. That's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Looks really great rolled up.
Yes. So like, I had this vision, I guess, when we first got married and we had this house, and I was like, oh, I can make seasonal quilts for all the bedrooms.
It is a commitment to
It
decorating
is.
that I don't
Yes.
necessarily have time for in my life.
Well, that's true. Now, I can't say I've gotten them all done.
Yeah.
But I
Well, there's
do
that.
have Christmas quilts for 1, 2, 3 of the beds.
I have,
Ours and 2 others.
yeah, so my kids have like regular quilts and they each have a Christmas type quilt, but that's on them. Like they make their own beds, they do their own laundry. It's on them if they want to pull out the seasonal one.
Well, I think that there are,
Let me also point out, I have been married almost 20 years. About 3 or 4 years into my marriage, my in-laws started giving us a set of Christmas dishes. And then subsequent years continue to give us new pieces. And so now that's been about 15 years, and I have never once remembered to pull out the Christmas dishes and use them at Christmas. But I got a cabinet full of them. So you can guess if I can't even get out the Christmas dishes that go in the dishwasher. I don't have to
totally
hand
use
wash
all
them.
my Christmas dishes. I love
So
them.
yeah, I have them, but I'm not good
Yes.
about.
So I have worked on, so I want to do, well, since Christmas is the only one you're talking about.
I have some smaller wall hangings. I
Have you
like an
done
Easter
other
one. I have
holidays?
done a small Easter wall hanging that will hang up in the smaller space in my dining room.
Yes.
I have plans to make a Halloween one for there, but it's like a gigantic paper piece project that I haven't done yet.
I think after you got that Hogsworth,
The Hogwarts required the
yes.
Harry Potter quilt. That kind of counts as
that's a lot.
Halloweenish too, but
Well, no. I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking that was just a lot of paper piecing.
That was a
and
year's
I think
worth.
you went, I'm not ready to do this again for a while.
well, I have done smaller paper piecing since then, like a pillow size for my mom.
Well, you did that cool Corvette.
Yeah,
No.
that was the one
Yeah.
for my mom. She wanted a pink Mustang, and then
That was
finally said, "I don't think I'm ever going to get one."
You can tell I don't know a lot about cars.
Yeah.
It's a car.
So I made her a pillow. She asked for like a new pillow for her car for when they travel. Needs one for her back or something.
So I like table runners, but I think that may be just me.
I do have in my dining room. I have like a sideboard that I will swap out. I think I
And
still have the
Quilts.
fall one up now. I
So,
didn't even put
like
the
I have a
Christmas
fall
one.
one.
Yeah.
I have a Christmas one, of course, and then I have a winter one. Then I have a summer one. I just finished a
What do you do about spring?
spring. See, I think I need an Easter one. So I haven't done that yet. But I've got a Valentine's Day one. And I want so I did the Ancestry.com DNA and found out that I've got some Irish in me that I didn't know that I had. And so I think I need a St. Patrick's Day one too. But that kind of, you don't see St. Patrick's Day fabric a whole lot. So
Only around St.
St.
Patrick's
Patrick's
Day.
Day.
Like, I can't get away from it. It shows up right after Christmas. It's out there as soon as Valentine's out.
yeah, well, they're right next to each other, March and February.
Amazing.
How that works. That makes sense. It comes out. And Easter's not far behind, so just depending on when that lands.
Mhm.
So I find myself making more seasonal stuff that's smaller that I can
Yes.
decorate with than actually full-size commitment. If I'm going to do a seasonal quilt, though, it's going to be a couch quilt. And I do have ones that I kind of consider more fall.
We have 2 or
And-
3 Christmas. Oh, we have 3 Christmas ones
Yeah,
officially that I'll like drag out so they're special.
yeah.
But I also have like 8 other quilts in my living room at any given time.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's been snowing and cold up in other parts of the United States. And we see all these Facebook stuff and all
No,
this
but I love
winter weather. And I'm like, I'm prepared with the quilts,
No,
but not prepared in our life.
But so
Otherwise-
I am friends on Facebook with another quilter in New Zealand, and she's like, "It's too hot to sew," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, Southern Hemisphere. Like,
Yeah, it's summer down there.
don't get
right
it
now.
twisted, Pam. There's other parts of the world."
Right, exactly. They're totally other parts of the world. Although I will say, if I'm making a seasonal quilt for my couch or the living room, I'm putting Minky on the back of it if it's a winter quilt.
See, that's a point that I made about summer weight quilts versus those
Yes.
with intentionally thicker materials, like
Right.
a fuzzy minky back or even a fleece back or double bat or things
Flannel.
flannel.
Yes. Yes, I definitely, those are the winter design. You're not seeing spring flowers on my minky backed quilt.
So have you made summer weight quilts just to have around? Aside from, like, we have a pattern Crazy Modern that is technically summer weight because there's no batting in it.
True. I mean, I think anytime you use a lighter or thinner loft, to me, it's a summer weight quilt. But I haven't just made one with, I guess, flannel in the middle of
Yeah.
it. Or, no, I've not made one like that. So, but that would be good. But definitely, if you're going to nap in the house on the couch, as you do,
With a dog
with the dog,
or cat or both.
So I was out of town for one night. I come home and Josie's like, I'm so glad you're home. Let me lay on you. It's like she was like very like wanting to be next to me, not leave my side.
I had got a kit. It was a complete Minky kit. So it was like 4 different fabrics for the front. And then I had a Minky back. And I made that as a Christmas gift, and I addressed it to my husband and dog because
yeah, the dog takes a nap with
the dog defers to me as like pack leader.
Well, it's because you're
But we'll go
around him
cozy
all
up.
the time.
Yeah, we'll go cozy up with my husband in the chair. Or his favorite thing is to, like, I'll be on the couch, my husband will be in the recliner, and the dog will come sit next to me and stare at my husband like, see. And then he'll go sit next to my husband and stare at me like, see. Like, he's just trying to get us jealous, which is weird. So anyway, I had made this Minky quilt, which is very heavy, that the dog adores.
It's funny
And
how our
that's what
animals
he'll
get
burrow
attached
up-
to.
He'll burrow up inside it, like, because he sleeps downstairs. We don't let him up in our room.
Yeah, because the cats are in your room.
Yeah. Well, but I will hear his toenails clicking on our hardwood floor, and then I make my husband get up and, like, go take care of Fred, please. Click, 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 click.
Yeah, mine do.
Anyway, seasonal quilts. So, yeah, I had thought, like, well, it could be the weight of the quilt, or it could be thematically for the holidays. But I think if my kids were younger, that's when we did a lot more. We put a lot more energy around decorating.
Right.
Now we kind of decorate. There's like, I have a bunting that I'll hang up over our fireplace. And I did it and it's not a quilt, but, bunting. And so one side, I have one where one side is Halloween and it says boo. And then there's like little ghost appliques. And then if you flip it over, I think it just says thanks. And it's like fall looking fabrics for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that works.
And then in the spring, I have one on one side. It's St. Patrick's Day.
There you go.
And I don't think it has applique words on it. It's just like the shamrock fabrics. And then when you flip it over, it's springtime and Easter. Yeah.
Yeah. I have found myself, if I'm doing seasonal stuff, it's the much smaller decorating. I don't think I have a St. Patrick's Day couch quilt. And probably won't. Even though, yes, I found out.
Well, apparently I have like 1% Middle Eastern heritage, which I have no idea where that came from because we are straight up waspy, like from the UK. Came over on the Mayflower.
Yes. Yes. So, but I did think it was fun to find that out. I thought the ancestry thing was kind of fun.
You just watch that commercials too much about I thought I was this, but it turns out I'm this. And we're like, you're still who you are.
Yeah, I am still who I am.
What part of my DNA loves science fiction? Like, where did that come from?
I don't know, but I kind of have that DNA too. I like it. So, all right. Well, I just wanted to know if you made them or what you think about them. Or
yeah, I like you. I find it easier to do in smaller projects.
Table runners.
Ones that are easy to swap out. All right.
Yes.
Let me ask this. How do you manage the storage as you have all these things?
That's the problem. There you go. That's the issue.
Yeah. It's the energy of like, oh, pull out the bin, sort through it. Yeah. And like, where's the bin?
Well, okay, here's what I've got issues. Well, let's just admit that right up front. So I have a dining room table. We kind of have a formal dining room, and then we have a breakfast area that's right off the kitchen. But the formal dining room, when my mother was alive and she lived with us, she just took it on to herself that she would decorate the dining room table thematically according to the month. So I have those big totes in my garage on shelves that have January, February, March, April, Easter, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And so they all have I know. They all have special tablecloths and a centerpiece that my mom did floral arrangements. A centerpiece that's a floral arrangement according to the theme. You probably have never seen these because I don't.
No, you brought up. We were here for the winter one, and you talked about this.
So I'm not as good now that my mom's passed. I'm not as good at pulling these out and putting them on the table, but like it was very important to her that we had. So they all have unique tablecloths. They all have unique. So I guess in the back of my mind, kind of to honor my mother, is I've been thinking about I want to make my like a table runner that would kind of go with what she had already started to kind of add another layer to that. So that's why I've been thinking about these seasonal ones. And I had the winter one out, which is the January one. And so I'm getting ready to get out the Valentine's Day one, which is the February one. And I haven't made a Valentine's Day table runner to go with it. So I guess that's why this topic came up. So it's stored in, the long to short story is, it's stored in totes in the garage, and there's 12 different ones. And they're on a shelf, they're on these shelves. And they have, and they have all the little stuff that, I mean, my mom was into this. So you had the floral arrangement, and it's all dry silk flowers so that and whatever vase it was in. And then there's all the other little stuff, like there's these little heart candles and so it's all like candles and tchotchke stuff. It is. So, yeah, I kind of think that that's kind of honoring my mom. So for me, it's been a kind of, I don't know, emotional little, and I've pulled some of these out going, oh gosh, I forgot that she did this one.
Yeah.
I forgot what this looked like or what. So it's been a nice part of that too. So I've enjoyed it, but you're right. Storage is the problem.
Yeah. And I think, so our table, because we eat all our meals in what is the formal dining room, and we're eating on a table. My husband's grandfather ran a sawmill, and so we're eating on a table that he made.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on top of that is a napkin holder that my grandfather made because he did woodworking. And so it's if you ever go to my house, you're like, why do you have ducks on your table? He made this napkin holder, and it's like 2 ducks. And he was decent at painting, and, we just put the napkins in there. And I have thought, like, I should do something to jazz up these ducks for the holidays, like give them little Santa hats, tie a little spring bow around it. But I haven't done it yet because I just feel like my cats are probably going to run off. Like, why is there a duck hat?
Like, I want this Santa. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have cats that would run off with stuff, so. But, I just kind of want to make more, like, seasonal table runner or stuff like that. So what's nice about it is that you can find like small bits of fabric, like charm packs for, Valentine's Day and stuff like that. Yeah. So this may be coming to a dining room table in the Reinhardt household soon.
Well, and you could even use scraps of the colors that are related.
Oh,
so like you don't have to have St. Patrick's Day fabric. You could just use green fabric with some black and some gold.
Right. Well, and I know in some of the big box stores, you could find one shamrock fabric. You don't have to have every kind of thing. So
you could
and I think it would make sense to do like Valentine's Day, because Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day are so close together. Valentine's Day on one side, and then on the other side have the shamrock fabric and St. Patrick's Day, and so kind of thing.
Or
whatever.
Buy our pattern Time After Time, which is a table runner with 4 seasons.
It does have 4 seasons in it, which I'd probably, in my mind, that was all of this kind of stuff that we talked about.
So somewhat related, the reason that we've been thinking about Time After Time more is that when we released it back in 2016, it wasn't a great seller.
Right. Yeah.
And we just recently redid the cover and submitted it to distributor. And so Checker now carries our line of patterns. And that has been a sleeper hit. All of a sudden, we're like,
wow.
New cover must have worked. But
So-
it works with a charm pack, so you could very easily use the one that we showed previously and adapt it. And it makes a nice size table runner too.
Yeah.
Oh, and even if you're doing that, you could use your tip of the heat-resistant, not traditional batting, but the heat-resistant batting inside there. And then
Absolutely.
it doubles as like a hot pad.
Right.
And you could put warm dishes on it.
And they're crinkly.
I don't know that that's a selling point.
It may not be.
That's how you know that's what's in there, though.
Yes, if you can hear it crinkle. And it's still washable, but
Mm-hmm.
the crinkle kind of goes away a little bit. So make some seasonal quilts.
Or when it comes to quilting, are you a summer weight or a heavy weight? You can let us know. You can leave a comment on the blog or the YouTube episode or in our Facebook group, What's Up Stitches. And that's all we have for this episode. Today's show is made possible by EnMart and QT Fabrics. Find links to these wonderful companies in the show notes for today's episode.
We'd like to thank 77 Peaches and Big Think Productions for helping produce The Stitch. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell to turn on notifications on YouTube.
So our next virtual stitch-in is Friday, March 8th at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern, broadcast live on our YouTube channel. Our next book club is March 22nd.
All those details and more can be found on our website, thestitchtvshow.com, along with links to purchase the Stitch TV Show merchandise and video classes. Tune in next time for more quilting chat with friends.